Have you ever pondered why you can't unscramble an egg or why time never runs backward? These seemingly simple questions lead us into the intricate realm of a fundamental concept in physics known as entropy. Entropy, in essence, is the measure of disorder in a system. It's a bit like the universe's accountant, keeping track of all the mess and chaos. Think about your room. It tends to get messier over time, right? That's entropy in action. It's easier for things to become disordered than for them to remain neat and tidy. Now let's consider our scrambled egg again. The act of scrambling increases the egg's entropy because it makes it more disordered. And once scrambled, the egg can't return to its original ordered state. This is a one-way street, an irreversible process. These irreversible processes are crucial when we discuss the direction of time. Unlike in our favorite science fiction stories, in the real world, time marches on in one direction only, forward. This directionality, this arrow of time, is deeply intertwined with entropy. Picture a movie of a glass shattering. Played forwards, it makes sense. But if you play it backward, it feels wrong. That's because it defies the second law of thermodynamics, which states that the total entropy of an isolated system can never decrease over time. Simply put, things naturally progress from order to disorder, and that's the crux of the entropic enigma. Entropy gives us a fundamental understanding of why time flows the way it does and why certain processes are irreversible. It's a key player in the cosmic drama, governing everything from the cooling of hot coffee to the expansion of the universe. So let's dive deeper into the intriguing universe of entropy. Stay tuned as we unravel the mysteries of this cosmic accountant and its profound implications on time and the universe at large. Imagine a drop of ink dispersing in a glass of water. What's happening here? Well, you're observing an everyday example of entropy in action. Entropy, derived from the Greek word for transformation, is a fundamental concept in thermodynamics, the branch of physics that deals with heat and temperature. Consider this: when you add a drop of ink to water, it doesn't clump and stay in one place. It spreads, disperses, and eventually, the whole glass of water might take on a faint color. This process is a visual representation of how entropy increases. Now you might be wondering, what exactly is entropy? Well, entropy is a measure of disorder or randomness in a system. In our ink and water example, the initial state where the ink drop is separate from the water is a more ordered, less random state. As the ink spreads and mixes with the water, the system becomes more disordered, more random. This brings us to the second law of thermodynamics, which states that the total entropy of an isolated system can never decrease over time. It can only increase or at best remain constant. This law dictates the direction of spontaneous processes, driving them towards increased randomness and disorder. Think of it like this. If you have a neatly stacked pile of papers and you knock it over, the papers scatter. That's an increase in entropy. But you'll never see a scattered pile of papers spontaneously stack themselves back neatly. That would be a decrease in entropy, which contradicts the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy also relates to the concept of energy distribution. When energy is uniformly distributed, we have maximum entropy. Going back to our ink example, when the ink has dispersed evenly throughout the water, the system has reached a state of maximum entropy. But entropy isn't just about disorder and chaos. It's also about possibilities. A disordered system has more possible configurations, more ways to arrange its parts than an ordered system. So in a way, entropy can also be thought of as a measure of a system's potential for change. Entropy is like the ultimate game master, guiding the universe's natural processes towards states of greater randomness and disorder. Yet it's also a driving force for change and transformation, always pushing systems towards their maximum potential. So, when you look at that glass of water, with the ink drop dispersing, you're not just seeing a simple diffusion process. You're witnessing a fundamental law of nature at work, shaping the world around us in ways we often take for granted. Entropy, in essence, is the measure of disorder or randomness in a system. But how does this notion of entropy connect with time? Well, let's dive right in. We know that entropy is a measure of disorder, and it's a fundamental law of nature that in a closed system, entropy will always increase or remain the same. It never decreases. Now, let's consider time. Time, as we experience it, also moves in a single direction, from the past, through the present, and into the future. We can't go back in time, just like entropy can't decrease. This leads us to the concept of the arrow of time, proposed by British astronomer Arthur Eddington in the early 20th century. Eddington suggested that the one-way direction of time is intrinsically linked to the one-way direction of increasing entropy. This concept is quite profound. It suggests that the reason we perceive time as moving forward is because entropy is increasing. Let's imagine a cup of hot coffee sitting on a table in a cool room. Over time, the coffee cools down as it transfers heat to the surrounding air. The overall entropy of the room increases during this process. The coffee doesn't spontaneously heat up again because that would decrease entropy, which violates the second law of thermodynamics. If entropy could decrease, we might perceive time as running backwards, with the coffee getting hotter instead of cooler. Now, this doesn't mean that entropy defines time, rather it gives time a direction. It's like the river current that carries us downstream. We can paddle against it, but the current always wins. The increasing entropy is our river current in the vast sea of time, always pushing us forward. But let's not forget that this is just one interpretation of the relationship between entropy and time. There are other views and theories out there, some of which challenge the notion of the arrow of time. These include ideas from quantum mechanics and the multiverse theory. But those are topics for another day. For now, consider this. Every time you watch an ice cube melt, you're witnessing the arrow of time in action. The ice cube won't spontaneously freeze again because that would mean a decrease in entropy. The same principle applies to a shattered glass or a scrambled egg. They won't spontaneously unshatter or unscramble because these processes would lead to a decrease in entropy. The direction of time, then, is inherently linked to the natural tendency for systems to evolve towards states of higher entropy. In this view, the future is simply the direction in which entropy increases. In simple terms, time moves in the direction where entropy increases. Now, let's take a giant leap from your coffee mug to the universe. Entropy isn't just a concept that lives in the microcosm of our daily lives, it's a fundamental principle that governs the cosmos. When we zoom out from our tiny human-sized perspective, we see that entropy is at work on a scale that's almost too big to fathom. Imagine the universe as a grand cosmic theater. The stage is set with galaxies, stars, and planets, all dancing to a rhythm set by the laws of physics. But entropy is the director of this play, silently guiding the actors towards a particular finale, the heat death of the universe. But what is this heat death we speak of? Well, it's the ultimate state of maximum entropy. Picture a universe where all the energy is evenly spread out, with no place cooler or hotter than any other. In this universe, there's no room for energy to flow, no room for work to be done. It's a universe at rest, a universe in perfect equilibrium. It sounds peaceful, doesn't it? But remember, a universe at maximum entropy is a universe without stars, without life, without change. It's a universe where everything is the same, everywhere, all the time. It's a universe that's run out of usable energy, a universe that's done all the work it can do. But don't worry, this isn't going to happen anytime soon. Scientists estimate that we have trillions upon trillions of years before we reach this state. But the important thing to remember is that entropy is a one-way street. Once we reach maximum entropy, there's no going back. So how does this relate to time? Well, just as a broken egg can't unbreak itself, the universe can't rewind its entropy. Time, in this sense, is tied to the increase of entropy. We experience time as moving forward because entropy is always increasing. In this grand cosmic theater, entropy is not just the director, but also the clock. It's the invisible hand that keeps the universe ticking, pushing it towards a state of maximum entropy, towards the heat death. So, the next time you look up at the night sky, remember this. Every star you see, every galaxy, every speck of dust is part of this cosmic dance choreographed by entropy. They're all playing their part, contributing to the increase of entropy, marching towards the ultimate equilibrium. Entropy is not just a concept in a physics textbook, it's a fundamental principle that shapes our universe and our perception of time. It's the silent director of the cosmic theater, the invisible hand that guides the universe towards its final act. And as we gaze out into the cosmos, we're not just observers. We're actors in this cosmic play, contributing to the increase of entropy with every breath we take, every step we make. As the universe ages, it's marching towards a state of maximum entropy. But here's a paradox. Why was the entropy of the universe so low at the Big Bang? To understand this, let's first revisit what we know about entropy. Entropy, in the broadest sense, is a measure of disorder or randomness. In a closed system, entropy tends to increase over time, leading to a state of maximum disorder. This principle, known as the second law of thermodynamics, is one of the fundamental laws that govern our universe. However, if we rewind the cosmic clock to the Big Bang, we encounter a paradox. The Big Bang, the explosive event that marked the beginning of our universe, should, in theory, have been a state of maximum disorder, a state of high entropy. But it wasn't. Instead, the universe started from a state of surprisingly low entropy. This low entropy state is puzzling because it contradicts what we'd expect from the second law of thermodynamics. As entropy increases, the universe should be moving from a state of order to disorder. But if the universe started in a state of high entropy, how did it evolve into the structured, organized cosmos we see today? One possible answer is that the universe we observe is merely a tiny fraction of a much larger cosmos. In this multiverse scenario, the Big Bang could be just one of countless similar events, each creating a new pocket universe with its own set of physical laws. If this is the case, then our universe, with its low entropy beginning, might just be an incredibly rare statistical fluke. Another possibility is that there's some yet undiscovered principle that required the universe to start in a state of low entropy. This principle, if it exists, could offer a new understanding of the laws of nature and the origins of our universe. Either way, the initial low entropy state of our universe is a perplexing mystery that continues to challenge our understanding of the cosmos. This low entropy beginning is one of the greatest mysteries of our universe. Entropy isn't all doom and gloom, though. It plays a crucial role in life as we know it. Now let's delve into how this seemingly destructive force actually drives the beautiful complexity of life. First, let's look at the cellular level. Cells, the building blocks of life, are tiny powerhouses of entropy. Every cell in your body is a hub of chemical reactions, and each of these reactions increases entropy. For example, when your cells break down glucose to produce energy, they're increasing entropy. The process of metabolizing glucose involves breaking down complex structures into simpler ones, and this increase in disorder is a manifestation of entropy. But it's not just about energy production. The entire process of cell division, the way our bodies grow and heal, is driven by entropy. When a cell divides, it's essentially creating more disorder. One cell becomes two, each with its own set of molecules and organelles. This increase in disorder, this increase in entropy, is fundamental to life. Moving beyond the cellular level, entropy also plays a vital role in the evolution of species. Evolution, at its heart, is a process of change and adaptation. Species evolve to better survive in their environments, and this process of adaptation and change increases entropy. Each new species, each new adaptation, adds to the complexity and disorder of life. But here's the fascinating paradox of life and entropy. While life is a process of increasing entropy, it's also a process of maintaining order. Life exists in a delicate balance, constantly creating disorder while also striving to maintain order. This is why we eat, why we sleep, why we breathe. We're constantly taking in energy to combat the disorder, to keep our bodies functioning, to keep the entropy at bay. And yet we're never quite able to win the battle against entropy. We age, we get sick, we die. These are all manifestations of entropy, the inevitable increase in disorder. But even in death, life finds a way to increase entropy. Our bodies break down, returning to the earth, and the cycle of life continues. Entropy then is not just a force of destruction, it's a force of creation, a driving force behind the complexity and beauty of life. It's in the beating of our hearts, the firing of our neurons, the evolution of our species. It's in the very fabric of life itself. So the next time you look at a flower blooming, a bird taking flight, or a newborn baby, remember this. Behind all this beauty, behind all this complexity, is entropy. Entropy isn't just about disorder and decay, it's about life, about change, about evolution. Life, in a way, is a battle against entropy. But it's a battle we're designed to fight, a battle that makes us who we are. So, embrace the chaos, embrace the entropy. After all, it's what makes life, life. Can we manipulate entropy? The answer is yes, but only locally and temporarily. Let's take a moment to delve into this fascinating concept. Every day, human beings are manipulating entropy, sometimes without even realizing it. Think about the last time you tidied up your room, or when you last organized your books on the shelf. What you were doing, in essence, was decreasing the entropy in your immediate environment, creating order from chaos. Now let's take this a step further and consider the world of technology. Here, the manipulation of entropy is taken to a whole new level. A prime example is your household refrigerator. It works by transferring heat from the inside to the outside, thereby reducing the entropy within and keeping your food fresh. In essence, it's a local entropy manipulator, creating a pocket of low entropy in a universe that's constantly increasing in disorder. Similarly, internal combustion engines, the powerhouses of our cars, also manipulate entropy. These engines work by creating a controlled explosion. The fuel's chemical energy is transformed into mechanical energy, propelling the car forward. However, in this process, a considerable amount of energy is lost as heat, increasing the entropy of the surrounding environment. But here's the catch. While we can locally decrease entropy, the total entropy of the universe never decreases. This is a fundamental principle known as the second law of thermodynamics. No matter how much we manipulate entropy in our local environment or in our technology, we can't escape this universal law. Each time we cool down our refrigerators or power up our engines, we're increasing the entropy of the universe, even if it's just by a tiny amount. So why does this matter? Well, the concept of entropy and its manipulation has profound implications for our understanding of the universe and our place within it. It shapes our understanding of time, of life, and of the universe's ultimate fate. It's a reminder that while we can manipulate our local environment, we're still bound by the laws of physics. We're part of a universe that's constantly moving towards a state of greater disorder, whether we like it or not. In conclusion, manipulating entropy is a part of our daily lives and technological advancements. We create pockets of order in a universe that's constantly moving towards disorder. But remember, these are only temporary and local decreases. On a grand scale, the entropy of the universe is always increasing, a testament to the inexorable march of time. While we can locally decrease entropy, the total entropy of the universe never decreases. So, what have we learned about entropy and time? Over the course of our discussion, we've taken a deep dive into a world that is as fascinating as it is complex. We've explored entropy, a fundamental concept in the realm of physics, and its intriguing relationship with time. We started by defining entropy as a measure of disorder or randomness in a system. We learned that it's not just a theoretical concept, but a tangible phenomenon that affects everything from the melting of ice to the expansion of the universe. We then ventured into the intricate relationship between entropy and time. We discovered that the progression of time is intimately linked with the increase in entropy, an idea encapsulated in the second law of thermodynamics. This law states that in an isolated system, entropy can only increase or remain constant, never decrease. This directionality gives us what we perceive as the arrow of time. We also delved into the paradox of low entropy. In the early universe, entropy was incredibly low, which is a puzzle because it contradicts our understanding that nature favors high entropy states. This paradox is still a topic of heated debate among scientists, and a puzzle we are yet to fully solve. We saw how entropy plays a vital role in life itself. The increase in entropy allows for the energy transformations that power everything from our cells to our cars. Without the constant march of entropy, life as we know it would cease to exist. Lastly, we discussed the manipulation of entropy. While we cannot decrease the total entropy of an isolated system, we saw how we can locally decrease entropy in certain areas, like in a refrigerator, at the expense of increasing it elsewhere. But as much as we've learned, there are still open questions and challenges in fully understanding entropy and time. We're still grappling with the implications of entropy on the fundamental nature of time. Does time exist because of entropy, or is it the other way around? Can we have a universe where entropy decreases over time? These are profound questions that continue to challenge our understanding of the universe. We are also faced with the challenge of integrating entropy and time into the quantum world. Quantum mechanics, with its probabilities and superpositions, seems to be at odds with the clear directionality of entropy and time. Bridging this gap is one of the frontiers of modern physics. In the end, our journey through entropy and time has shown us that they're not just abstract concepts, but essential pieces in the puzzle of understanding our universe. As we continue to probe, question, and experiment, we are not just increasing our knowledge, we are also deepening our appreciation of the beauty and complexity of the cosmos. As we unravel the mysteries of entropy, we're also unraveling the mysteries of time.